Your 8-minute question and answer period will now begin. What areas of your projects do you see as the most innovative and why?
With regards to Project Elevate, we would consider this project pretty innovative as it's incorporating youth into entrepreneurship. As entrepreneurship, the word, it's kind of associated with older people or like young adults, that sort of thing. So we make this innovative by making it accessible to youth at a young age, which is not seen in like your general everyday like school curriculum or anything. So that's something that's innovated with Elevate.
For food sharing, we have kind of combined two sort of well-known organizations, I guess. So there's food sharing, which is part of ours. And then we also are branching off into the little free pantries, and we've kind of meshed the two things together so that they work, where we're getting food sharing from food waste from stores. And hopefully when we get this prototype up, our plan is to bring it into these community pantry areas. So we've kind of meshed those two different ideas together into one.
Do you have plans to scale your projects? Why and how?
So for Project Elevate, we're going to be looking maybe into scaling into different sessions. The program is kind of set up where you can have cohorts for education. So we may be able to have 2 days a week where the program is run by our group, but with 2 different cohorts. So that's completely possible. And even branching off into pre-recorded sessions with assignments delivery into a more typical curriculum setup. And that's for Project Elevate.
How did you come up with the idea for your projects?
For food sharing, it started with some students going on exchange in Norway, and they saw a food sharing initiative there and kind of brought the idea back over here. There hasn't been anything exactly like what we're doing in Wolfville, and it's not too popular in North America yet. So we're hoping to popularize it, but that's where the idea came from.
For Project Elevate, Nationals-Acadia is lucky enough to be kind of on a tree branch of Launchbox-Acadia, which is kind of like a subsection of the Acadia Entrepreneurship Center. And we were luckily enough approached by them to run the entrepreneurial side of Project Elevate. And then this is also partnered with, or it allows us to partner with other like great organizations such as Refresh Annapolis Valley.
Could you clarify the role of your partnerships and the role of your team in your projects?
Yeah, so just kind of as I said, Project Elevate is partnered with Launchbox and Refresh Annapolis Valley. And us, Nationals-Acadia. So Launchbox takes care of most of the administrative duties, like the kind of the logistical side of things, sending emails out to parents, that sort of thing. And then Refresh Annapolis Valley adds in the tech component. So very like specialized skill set coming from them, which kind of adds some diversity into our program delivery. So they run 5 weeks of the session on like CSS, web programming, that sort of stuff. And then Nationals-Acadia creates and delivers the entrepreneurial content. So that's where our partners come into play.
For food sharing, we have recently partnered with the town of Wolfville to work on these community pantries. And they've been really helpful in facilitating connections with different community groups. So the local food bank, the library, a few other community groups dealing with food insecurity, just to assess need and like locations, and basically just a needs assessment that we're getting together for this prototype for the pantry that we hope to have up in the fall. And they're also going to partner with us on building. But Food Sharing Acadia is really started the idea and is the main proponent to getting it forward. So the town of Wolfville kind of works in a support role and getting us introductions with people. We've also partnered with a similar organization called Waste Free Wolfville. And as of right now, they have turned into an information hub. They were doing pickups alongside us, but their organizer is not in the area anymore. So they're information hub for food waste and like best practices for eliminating waste. And we focus on the actual distribution of the food. So that's kind of the divide between our two groups there.
Explain what tools your team uses to measure impact.
For food sharing, we have just like a luggage scale that we use to weigh the amount of food we have diverted every day. And we also take metrics on how many people stopped at our table and just some general stuff like whether they were a student or not. So we know how many people we're helping and sort of the main group, our main demographic that we're reaching as of right now. It has been a lot of students, but there's been some community members as well and a few people returning. So that was nice to see.
For Project Elevate, we measure through the amount of youth impacted right now, and also another unit measurement we were doing was prototypes created. So the end goal of Project Elevate is for the youth to come up with a prototype at the end and just kind of go through the process of what it's like to come up with an idea and start a business. So we measured on youth impacted and prototypes created.
How did you manage to meet and plan your projects as a team despite COVID-19 restrictions?
For food sharing, we met all virtually. So we had a Teams channel set up for Enactus, and then we had subsections for each team. So food sharing had its own chat on that, and we also had a set up meeting spot so we could put our notes and everything all in one area. So it was really nice and organized. And then when restrictions lifted a little bit, we met outdoors in person. So we have only, I think, 7 people that came to that meeting. So we were well under the 10-person limit and just wearing masks at that time as well.
Your time has now expired. Thank you, Nationals-Acadia University.